Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are now watching the Dre B. Rambo Show live after dark. Welcome to the show. I got to come up with a better theme song than that. That's kind of it just kind of came with the mixer here. And it's the only song that's there. So anyway, I kind of like it. It kind of grew on me. So anyway, if you're joining me, thank you for joining. Today's topic is self-mastery. And you might be thinking to yourself, what does Dre B. Rambo know about self-mastery? And you'd be right. I don't know much about self-mastery. But the reason why I brought up this subject is because I was talking with my wife and she was telling me about self-mastery and how that's something that an individual needs to develop. And of course, she said more than that, but it really inspired me and made me think about, how am I going to get to the next level where I'm trying to get to in certain areas of my life? And believe it or not, my wife has a lot of good information. She teaches me a lot, actually. Things all the time, the things that she says. And the Bible says, for example, that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And that's 100% true, especially if you have one like mine who regularly lets me know the areas where I fall short. And I don't say that to say like she's in a negative way. I mean that in a positive way, that my wife is really good about showing me things that me as a man should be thinking about, and she keeps me in line. You know what I'm saying? So one of the first things I want to talk about is self-mastery. Now, I'm not an expert in self-mastery, so the approach I'm taking to this, and I think that is a good idea for anybody to take, is that in order to I want to say develop self-mastery. In order to develop self-mastery, you have to become a student. So that's the approach I'm taking, that I want to be a lifelong student of the struggle or the process of developing self-mastery. And what does self-mastery look like? Well, I think that probably looks different for everybody, because not everybody has the same goals or the same ambitions or wants the same thing from their life. So me as a self-proclaimed Christian man, I struggle with sin like everybody. And I want to be somebody who has the amount of faith in God, so much faith that the amount of sin in my life is very limited, and where more positive things are happening around me because of who I am as a human being than negative things. And that's a good place for me to start. I think some of the main things for me is developing new habits. I tend to have a lot of bad habits, and I've gotten rid of a lot of them. My biggest habits were the drinking and the drugs and all that, and the smoking. And I was able to get rid of that. It was my wife who brought me to Jesus, and it was my wife who persuaded me vigorously to give up the sauce and to stop the smoking and all that kind of stuff. And that's why I say he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Sometimes we have to be willing to listen in order, especially to our wives, if you have one, because they always, if you just assume they're coming from a place of love, they're going to give you good info. It might come off as nagging, but if you think about it, that nagging is coming from a place of truth and of love. So if you're somebody who has a wife or a girlfriend or something, and you think she's always on your back nagging you about this or that, and she's never happy about this or that, I'm starting to think that's a good thing, because imagine if she wasn't like that. Well, one, it means she doesn't care. Two, how would you know that you're doing something wrong? if you just sit on the couch all day or you're just playing video games all day and your wife's cool with that, and just in my opinion only, especially if you don't have your shit together or you don't have your career going or something like that, well, that could be a problem and that could cause troubles in your relationship, right? So one of the things that I'm doing right now, and I talked about a little this morning on my Instagram account, is working on developing a new morning routine. I was listening to something the other day, actually it was probably more like a week ago, where it was talking about developing a routine, especially a morning routine. And it made a lot of sense because it's talking about how your morning routine is going to set the course of the rest of the day, right? So what I've been doing this week, and then I filmed it for the first time today, is waking up at 3:00. Today I woke up late. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning to go run. And I run about 2 miles, probably maybe less than that. I'm not sure how I need to clock it. Not clock it, but get the speedometer with my car and see how far it is. But it's all uphill and then downhill. And I do that at 3:30 in the morning. Well, I did at 3:30 in the morning. I'm trying to do it at 3. I post my little video on Instagram. And the reason why I post the video on Instagram is like some people might think I'm looking for attention. And I don't think I am. I think I do it because I'm afraid of doing it. It's something that fears me. Getting on the camera and talking on the microphone and talking to people scares the shit out of me. And I want to be the kind of guy that faces his fears and things that scare him and overcome that. You know, they say a lot of people have the fear of public speaking. You know, when you get in front of an audience and you speak, well, imagine potentially talking to the whole world and people are listening to everything you're saying and scrutinize everything you're saying. And that has always been a big fear for me, especially since when I bought this podcast system and all that was during the pandemic, 2020, I bought it. And it took me like 3.5, 4 years to work up the nerve to actually have the courage to get up on here and actually speak. So I enjoy overcoming that fear of speaking into the mic and onto the internet and forcing myself to post it or forcing myself to go live because I think it's challenging and I like that. I like challenging myself. So the morning routine, I think it's critical. First developing a morning routine is going to make sure that you get the important things that you have going on in your life completed, especially if you do it in the morning. Because I noticed that when I don't have a good morning routine and then I plan everything for the afternoon, by that time I'm tired, I'm not interested, I just don't want to do it. So in order to create your routine, what I did was I first decided, what are my goals? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? And I'm still kind of working on that, but I have the main stuff ready to go. So first of all, I have my law school stuff where I'm trying to pass the bar. So that's in February. So I got 6 months to study for this exam. That's extremely hard. But if I pass it, it's life-changing. It'll change my whole life. It'll change everything. I'll be able to be a good provider for my family. I'll be able to buy a house. I'll be able to do a lot of stuff where money is an issue, will no longer be an issue because I will be an attorney by that point. I don't really expect much or if anything from having a podcast, but I enjoy doing it. So I do it as a hobby. But that's one goal that I have is the passing the bar exam. Another goal that I have is doing these videos, this hobby of mine of doing YouTube videos, just talking about man shit, whatever it is. It'd be great to get some, stuff from the audience or questions and stuff. And that way I could have a place to go. Cause right now I'm just shooting out of my ass right now with with the topics. But part of the self-mastery, I think for me, or at least my idea, if you have a better idea, shoot it in the comments, is figuring out what it is that you want and creating a plan for a good morning routine. Okay. And then take action. So I thought about this part a lot, taking action, because it's very easy for me to get up on here and spit out a bunch of bullshit. And if you called me a fraud or I have no business doing this, you'd be right. because I'm not a teacher. I'm a student in this game, in this thing called self mastery. I'm a student. I'm inviting you on this journey with me to figure out how to master the self, how to master the mind. It was my wife who told me today, actually, when we went running on the stairs, and she had said something. She said a lot of things to me, but she said something to me that resonated and it stuck with me. And it basically goes like this. You have to train the body to have a healthy mind. And with a healthy mind, you can control your body. And I think that what that means is that the first thing that you have to do is start by taking care of yourself. That means watching the food that you eat. And of course, my wife told me this stuff, but it's watching the food that you eat. It's not consuming things that are harmful for the body, like energy drinks. I love energy drinks. Or coffee with creamer. I cut out coffee with creamer like a month ago, and I feel so much better, especially with all the arthritis in my hand. It means, not eating late at night. It means putting healthy food in your body. It means exercising, spending the time required to make your body healthy. I've been working my ass off with the exercise. I'm making progress. It's very slow. I'm still over 200 pounds, but I'm making a lot of progress. I've lost about 10 pounds, I think, maybe a solid 10 over the last month. And she's absolutely right. It requires, taking care of yourself. And, she also mentioned that it's also about taking care of your mind. She said that you have to be careful with the type of content you consume on the internet, about how you're spending your time. If you're just hanging out watching TV, all those types of that type of stuff has a negative effect on you mentally. So it's taking care of yourself mentally, and it's taking care of yourself with what you're consuming. So not just consuming in your mouth, but also consuming in your head. So it's being a student. This whole thing is just educational, right? The problem comes when, I notice for me especially, when I consume certain information on the internet, some bad, some good, and I'm forcing myself not to consume the bad information on the internet because it's entertaining, But the good stuff that talks about things like taking care of yourself, or manning up, leveling up, whatever it is, inspirational type stuff I usually like to listen to when I'm working out. That stuff is good, and it's good information, but it ultimately means nothing if you're not implementing any of the stuff that you're learning about. I listen to a lot of the self-discipline videos, because self-discipline is something that I struggle with. Being very strict on myself. And I think it's good to be strict on yourself. And I think it's good because my mind always thinks of it, right? I'm always thinking about, man, I don't want to eat like a fat piece of shit, or, I don't want to be, wasting my time, or I want to get more into my study books. I want to put more hours in. And if you don't have the proper systems in place in order to level up in those areas, you're gonna start to falter. And what I'm starting to realize is that you're going one way or the other. There is no middle ground. You're either going right, or you're going left. You're either advancing yourself or you're regressing in life. There is no in between. And I don't think that's an original thought. I must have heard that somewhere, but I was thinking about that today. If I didn't wake up today. So today I woke up, I went for my run at 3:30. I got home around 4:15. I cleaned the kitchen. I cleaned up, I mopped the floor real quick in my kitchen because it was dirty. And then I came straight into this room, and I started hitting my study, my materials here. I started studying for the bar, and I spent 2.5, 3 hours doing that, writing my outlines and then typing it, doing whatever I had to do. And then I went and I did some other things that were important to me. And then I eventually ended up in pickleball, where I was playing some pickleball. And then I came home. And those systems, like waking up on time, following through on the plan that I made the night before, that stuff sets me in a trajectory to advance myself to the right. However, if I didn't get as far as I should have got because I woke up late, I snoozed. I wanted to get up at 3, but I ended up snoozing until 3:30, which, isn't bad necessarily, but my goal, the promise I made to myself was to wake up at 3. But I failed myself because I snoozed and didn't wake up until 3:30 to go for my run. That means I was a half hour, 45 minutes behind, which should be unacceptable. I should consider that unacceptable, that I have to, my wife talks about this all the time. I know I keep bringing up my wife, but she's just like a guru. But I have to start setting a standard for myself that if I make a decision that I'm going to wake up at 3:00 in the morning, and I'm going to do it because there's so many benefits to it, that I have to do that. I can't be snoozing. I have to get. I hope you guys can hear me. But anyway, let me see. I could check real quick. Check 1, check 2, check 1, check 2. Oh, let me check this out. Yeah, okay, there I am. Well, hopefully I'm on. I don't know. This is a new software, and I was slamming the table right now, and I think I kind of messed it up. But anyway, so if I don't get up on time, and if I didn't bother to go run, if I just said, hey, you know what, I'm just going to skip the run and, just go straight to hit the books. Well, I have moved the needle to the left. I have literally made a decision to not move forward, but to move back with my health. That in that particular instance, it would be my health, right? My physical body taking care of it, right? And if I just didn't study, then I just hung out all day and did do shit. Now I'm moving the needle to the left. It's not like I just stay still. Oh, I didn't move forward, but I'm right here in life. No, I move back. I really believe that. You move back. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that when I make a promise to myself, that I keep it. And part of that requires me to take action. Like I didn't just wake up and I'm still not, I don't have self-mastery. I'm a student of self-mastery. I'm starting at like day 5 or day 2 or day 1, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm starting this journey, right? But I was thinking about this today. Like I have to take action. And in that word action is the word act. So I feel like I have to act as the person that I want to be, even if I'm not actually that person. So I need to act as if I'm a good husband, and I have to act as if I'm a good athlete, a good jiu-jitsu practitioner. I have to act as if I'm a good law student. Well, I'm not a student anymore, but that I'm studying. I'm a good studier past this bar exam. And my wife is always talking about this. She's always talking about mindset and how you have to be conscientious of how you talk to yourself. I'm like the worst with that. I'm always calling myself a fat piece of shit, or I'm always saying, oh, I'm fucking dumb, or this or that. And I just do it because, I think in my mind that I don't know where it comes from. Maybe I think I'm being humble and I'm just like, oh, I'm not that smart. But no, I'm actually putting out words out into the atmosphere, out into the world. And it's like self-prophesying. I'm self-prophesying about who I am and what I am, where deep down in the subconscious, those are self-defeating thoughts. And I've heard on the internet where your mind doesn't know the difference between when you're joking about yourself or when you're being serious about yourself. It doesn't know. So it's important to be careful about the words that come out of your mouth. One of the things I'm trying to do right now is to speak truth out into the atmosphere about who I am or what it is that I'm doing. To only, again, me and my wife were talking about it tonight about being positive or anytime a negative thought, this is what she said. She said, anytime a negative thought comes into your mind, you replace it with a positive thought. And I only had a few minutes to think about that, but it made a lot of sense. It's like, it's something that just kind of seemed like it's something that you have to practice. You have to practice when negative thoughts come into your mind and replace it. We talked about something else, and I did do something where, I was having a tough time last week, and I was, sitting in a meditative pose, and I was giving gratitude for all the things that I have in my life. And because I had heard on the internet that it's impossible to have negative thoughts when you're expressing gratitude. So I spent like 10 minutes just saying all the things I'm grateful for. Even if I just kept repeating certain stuff, I was just like, I'm grateful for this, grateful for my family, I'm grateful for, whatever. And it felt like it was true. Like, as I'm giving gratitude, I'm not experiencing the thing that was bothering me. The only problem is that I haven't practiced that. It was just something I was trying out, and it did seem to work. But I noticed that my endurance for sitting in a moment of gratitude is a lot harder than it looks. Like praying to God or to sitting and meditating on your life and gratitude is not an easy thing. It's like it actually requires practice, I noticed. And so taking action, I was looking at that word action, and I was thinking about this as I was hitting the punching bag today. The word action has the word act in it. So act as the person that you want to be. It's not pretending, but it's acting like that person until it becomes a part of your core. These are just a lot of this is just theory. I'm way behind in the game, guys. Like I'm nowhere near anywhere close to being someone that you could look at and say, this guy's mastered himself. But we got to start somewhere. And I always say one of my favorite quotes is, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And this is my first step towards the being a student of self-mastery, mastering the mind so I can master my body. And that's what I'm aiming for. And I like to, I like to invite you guys on this journey with me. And I plan on posting stuff in the morning when I go run, just real quick, just like whatever. And then trying to post a video like this every night if I can. It's just something I really enjoy, and I'm hoping to get really good at it. I realize that I say the word a lot. I say a lot. I know I do that. I'm thinking about trying to get myself to start doing that. I don't really watch my videos very much, but I did watch one today, and I did watch what I posted earlier today, and I noticed that I do that. So I'm trying to work on myself with that. I mean, these guys on the internet, sometimes they make it look so easy, and I have a feeling they prepare a lot. And I prepared a little bit today, just with stuff like that my wife had said, and I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned it because my wife's like a little fortune cookie. She got a lot of good stuff. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did enjoy the content, make sure you share, like, and subscribe. Especially subscribe to the channel. That would be awesome. Or share it with others, or leave a comment. Anything. Just engage with me. I would really like that. And I am live. I'm not taking any phone calls yet. I bought this new system, this StreamYard professional streaming service, and I haven't quite figured out. I was surprised I got the microphone to work today, to be honest with you. So, I mean, that all takes time, and then inch by inch, you get better at stuff, right? Inch by inch, you make improvements. And I guess that goes for life as well. So, if you watched the show, thank you so much. This doesn't tell me if anybody's watching, but I hope you enjoyed the show. And I'm trying to get some new guests for my Monday show, which takes place at 5 p.m. on Mondays. If you don't see the show, it's because I didn't find a guest to come on the show. But otherwise, you'll see me here sometime around 9 o'clock at night, posting basically a half-hour show of me just talking some shit, whatever. I mean, it's going to change over time because that's what happens. You kind of like develop your personality on the internet, or at least that's my theory. You develop a little bit of a personality. You get really better at it. You start to see, as people engage, you start to see what people like and want to talk about. And I'm not here to please anybody, but I mean, it's right now I'm just talking about what I want to talk about because it's my show, right? And nobody's yet to engage in this. So anyway, thank you for watching the show. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that's my theme music. All right, guys, Dre B. Rambo out.